What's up guys, it's Drac and Jinx. She's a little surprised. Today we are talking about shotguns. So I wanted to kind of look at the three front runners in each one of these categories and talk about which one I think is the best and why. So what is the best Nerf shotgun on the market right now? The three categories are obviously made by Hasbro, made by aftermarkets, and then made by us, the community. And there's a front runner in each category. We've got the new Trilogy from Nerf. We've got the Spring Thunder from our hobbyist space. And then we have the Liberator from Dart Zone, all at different price points, all very different blasters, all doing and accomplishing different things. Let's hit the highlights and then we'll talk about the negatives of each blaster and then we'll give you our final thoughts. So starting off with the Trilogy by Hasbro, this thing is pretty cool. It's a lot of stuff that we've wanted for a while. It's shells that you can load pretty easily into a chamber here, and they kind of go in. Now this one's not loaded properly, so you got to make sure that it articulates in. Then it fires a 3-round burst. There's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty sweet. It's got a built-in smart AR into the plunger. Like overall, I think that it's cool. Now what would be really cool is if it ejected its shells, and it does most of the time eject its shells. So if we put this one in and come forward and fire, and then we are at any sort of weird angle, we get some funky stuff where the door will flip back like that, and so, oh my. But then if you're really rough with it, it'll spit them out. So overall, the Nerf Trilogy is fine. Now things that it doesn't do super well is it's more expensive than it should be for what's essentially an easy to reload sledge fire. And it's sort of funky in terms of like its overall onboard capacity. Storing things in the back here is way less exciting than if this had a tube magazine. I think this would be the front out winner. Like, I actually like ejecting shells. If you're going to be doing a gimmick blaster, go all out with that gimmick. But what you really want with a tactical shotgun like this is the ability to go and you can't. You instead have to do 1 operation, 2 operations, 3 operations, 4. Jinx, are you tired of being in the video? Yes, please. Sphinx Jinx. Alright guys, can we get a big thumbs up? Maybe smash that subscribe button for our lovely assistant here. We're gonna let her down. She's always on a pedestal, but I don't think she likes literally being on a pedestal. Anyway, so pros, made by Hasbro, easily available, and does fire a 3-round burst with smart AR technology. Plenty of onboard capacity, just not actually ripped and ready to go. Cons would have to be the price for that performance, as well as the overall functionality of it. The fact that it's a single loader is pretty archaic. The sledge fire was made years and years ago, guys. Come on. Alright guys, next up I want to talk about the Liberator. Now mine is not only Team Red, but also fully modified, fully torqued, and ready to deliver the hits. It's got a 10-round magazine, internal capacity, and it loads through a Mossberg style window in the bottom. Fully modified, it delivers the hits, but even without that, it's giving you pretty up there performance for a rival shotgun style blaster. Now, also has a very tactical feel. No stock on this one, nowhere to rest, but a good pump action grip here. I wish it had a little bit of an angle, but I know that some people struggle with the power ball, and easy to remove safety and overall like far superior ergonomics. But the thing that really like gets me about this one is not only the Mossberg style loading, I think that that's great, but the price. The price can't be beat. This guy is a steal at 20 bucks or less depending upon where you pick it up and when. I think that it's great. It's a phenomenal Springer style blaster that requires no magazines as it is built in, and it scratches that alien's itch. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I'd like to keep this handy for close encounters.
So if we have to tie it up with a dapper little bow on it, the pros for this thing are internal Mossberg style pump action magazine, 10 shots without ever touching it again, plus overall performance, and can't beat that price. If we had to take the cons are no shell ejecting gimmick. Come on guys. And while the shell quality is solid and better than it has been ever, the shell quality on this is slightly lesser than some of the competition. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's still an injection molded shell, so it's not the most fragile thing on this list, but some of the internals are a little bit softer, and I really wish that it did something cool and gimmicky like eject a shell. That said, I like that it's efficient and that you can just load with no extras and no nonsense, so pick your poison. Do you love the gimmick or hate it? Can't have it both ways. And then finally from the community, as is often the case, we have the best of both worlds. The Spring Thunder gives you ultra sweet Mossberg style shell loading with realistic shell chambering action, and with that shell chambering comes shell ejecting. Now this thing ejects right every time, and if you're a little violent with it, it super ejects them, sends them spinning out with an actual shell ejector. It's pretty awesome, and it delivers a powerhouse punch. Plus it has a stock, plus it has an awesome ergonomic profile with a little bit of a lip there on the back end of its pump grip, plus a litany of different attachments from side saddles to hold more shells to pretty much anything that you could possibly think of for a shotgun-esque blaster. In addition to that, it comes with a variety of different rounds that you can both print yourself or buy to fire slugs, fire regular streamlines, well, that's unfortunate. Fire pretty much anything that you want. Like, it'll fire regular darts, it'll fire mega darts, it'll fire rival rounds in single or triple configurations. Like, it is one slick shooter. However, it is 3D printed, it is machined, it's got some fickle qualities to it, and you definitely wouldn't want to leave it in your car on a hot Georgia war day. So the other two being injection molded are far more durable than this thing, but this thing just has it all in terms of its overall performance and power. So that would probably bring us to the point where the pros for this are overall power, overall performance. It's got both features in the form of a tube magazine and shell ejecting action. It can accept multiple kinds of ammo, which is sweet. And it's got a great ergonomic profile. The cons are, it is 3D printed, it is machined hardware, so it's a little bit flimsy and a little bit vulnerable to those elements. In addition to that, like, some of the components can be more fragile, and so it has a higher probability to break, as well as it is expensive. So being made one at a time by a Nerfer in our hobby with a 3D printer, this is hours and hours of 3D printing for these body pieces, and not even to think about all the tinkering and hand fitting that goes into making the internals tick. Like, it winds up being a little bit pricey. In order, this is over $100. Then you've got the Trilogy at $35, and then you have the Liberator at about $20. So those are the price breakdowns. Let's give you our picks. So, surprising nobody, Nerfer's got a Nerf, right? This is my pick. In a world where money is no object, I think that this is the clear and present frontrunner. It does the most things, it does them in the coolest form faction, and it gives you both the beauty of the shell ejecting shotgun satisfying gimmick, as well as the inline tube magazine, so that you can actually work your way through a few different opponents at once without dying because you're busy fumbling with your weird window. Also, it ejects the first time, every time.
60% of the time, it works every time.
However, I do want to mention that there is a reality where money does matter and you don't just buy the shotgun that you absolutely want. We'll have a link to all of these in the description box below, but if you were on a budget or if you just wanted the most bang for your buck, I actually don't think this delivers. I think the Liberator is by far the standout in terms of bang for your buck value. I think it's one of the best blasters to come out this year, and I just can't stop talking about it. I can't stop taking it to wars. I can't stop playing with it. It is an awesome powerhouse on the battlefield, and I had an absolute blast with it at the SCNC, and I think it would be even sweeter at CQB battle. Like, high performance or stock performance doesn't matter to me. They're both crazy sweet, and not having to fumble with shells is really convenient. Just a pocket full of rival rounds, and you are good to go. Overall, the price for this is awesome. It's at that old school Elite Alpha Trooper price point, and it's all the primary you need for a rival battle at that price point. It is a phenomenal entry. It used to be Dart Zone was giving us things that weren't quite unique, like Apollos that were maybe a little creaky in the form of the Powerball, Hoppers that were a little funky but slightly cross-compatible, and it's so nice to see them just completely go over the top and deliver something incredible with lots of thought put into it at a price point that just can't be touched on the shelf by their competitors. It's cheaper than the X-Shot alternative and performs in a cooler fashion, in my opinion, and it's way cheaper than the nearest rival blaster in its category, and certainly cheaper than the nearest shotgun in its category. So this would be my pick if every dollar counts, and of course I think that everybody should be supporting our makers in our hobby, and this is just a really, really cool offering. It definitely made my top 5 3D printed blasters list, and if you are interested in more 3D printed blasters in our space, I'll link to that one as well for you to check out. But that's my breakdown of the shotguns available in Nerf right now. Man, I wish my side saddle had stopped falling off. So that's my ranking. Let me know, comment section down below. Would you ever pick a Trilogy over either one of these, and for what situation? And which one would you choose between the Liberator or the Spring Thunder? It was a really tough choice picking, which is why I kind of chose both of them. But that's my breakdown. Top shotguns in the hobby right now as of Spooky Times 2019. As always, much love, Nerf on, Drac out.